Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is Old Horse Revisited. Now, I don't have the editing suite to be able to put me watching my video and then obviously looking at what I read and how I did it all. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing, for this video I think I'm just going to do my first two book hauls, and I'm going to link them down below in the comments down below. And I'm obviously going to then go through each book that I read in the videos. So like I said, I'll link the videos so you can actually have a look at what I was like in those first two videos. Oh my god, it is so embarrassing. Like, I'm like looking at it going, I have changed quite a bit. My hair's at the floppy stage, but how much has changed in the last 3 years? Because these first two videos, so the first one was a car boot haul, which I did as soon as my channel started, so I believe that was April, all those 3 years ago. And then the next one is my May book haul, and that was done then. And my tastes have changed, my opinions on so many of these books have changed, and it is very weird to think about. Like, oh my god, it was really weird watching the old ones. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to see how this video goes, see what you guys think of what it was like and how I did, and see if I can get a good thumbnail and see how I can do. I want to see if I can get this thumbnail right. But if you guys want me to do more Old Hauls Revisited, let me know. Let's see how this goes and see if I'll do more of them. If enough of you want me to, I will do more of them. So the first haul was done, and God, I still play with my hair. I've noticed that much. So in the first haul, like, it was when I went to a car boot with my sisters. I bought 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 books. And I only have one of them left on my shelves unread, which I think I will leave till the end and tell you at the end. So I will go over each book that I bought, and I'll let you know whether I read it, whether I unhauled it unread, or what I did with it and what I thought of it. So the first one was a book that I added on in the descriptions because I didn't actually include in the video, and that was The Secret Life of Bletchley Park. I read that. It was a non-fiction one, but I didn't like it very much, so that was a bit of a flop. So out of the 15, that's a 1 flop. The next one was Goodnight Mr. Tom, which I read and loved. I didn't keep it because it was so traumatic, but I read it, I loved it, and I was glad I read it. The next one was The Historian, which I didn't actually read. I actually unhauled it unread because when I looked at it, it looked a lot more thriller-y, gothic-y, Dracula-y, and it just looked a bit too much for me. So I unhauled it and gave it to a colleague that I was working with at the time. But yeah, it just didn't look like me. It was one of those books where I bought because of it looked the hype and it looked really good. It just wasn't really for me. The next one was Wild Swans. Now, you know I read that. A lot of people have been reading it recently. And that was the 3 generational book, and it was non-fiction. I read it with my sister. Very long book, and I found certain parts of it were really good. Other parts I struggled with and I didn't get into as much. But I did read it. I was glad I read it. It was one of those books that I'm glad to tick off my list of books that I can say that I've safely read. But it was alright. I just didn't keep it. It was one that I don't think I could reread. The next one was The Muse by Jessie Burton, which I read. I enjoyed. I liked it. I think I only read it last year. It was good. It wasn't to me as good as the other book by her that I read. Which one was that one? That's The Miniaturist. I didn't like it as much as I liked The Miniaturist, but it was good, and it was one I was glad. And I've got a few more of that author's work, and I did love her work. The next one was a contemporary, Kicking the Bucket List, and that was really good fun. It was a really good contemporary book. I really enjoyed it. It did get me thinking. It was very much of a contemporary book. Again, like, it was alright, you know. Then it was Life of Pi. Now, Life of Pi I didn't like. I'm sorry, I did not like it at all. It was not a me kind of book, and it was just not me at all. Sweet's decided to be in this one. Ow! And I've got, she hasn't reappeared in videos for a while, and I've got thin trousers on, and her claws have just gone in my trousers. So the next one was Arthur and George by Julian Barnes, and I didn't like that very much. That was not a me kind of book. I bought it because of I thought Julia liked it. I'd bum out the video camera, but it was one I didn't like. I ended up unhauling another one of the author's works, and the author was one that wrote Downton Abbey, and I thought, oh, because he wrote Downton Abbey, I'd love it, but was not for me. The next one was The Secret of Happy Ever After by Lucy Dillon. And I read that. It was a good contemporary set in the library. And my comments about that book, like when I was reading it, I was like, how could this person work? One of the books, I think it was that one, was about how could someone work in a bookshop and not like buy all the books, or what it would be like to work in a bookshop. And now I work in Baz Books and I love it. And yes, it's dangerous because I buy like a fair few books every week, but I love it. And so it's quite weird that I was making comments about that in that video, and 3 years down the line I am now doing my dream and working in a charity bookshop. The next one was On a Beautiful Day by Lucy Diamond. I read that, but I don't remember it. It's really weird. It was one of those contemporaries. It was an easy contemporary. It was all right, but it's not one that stuck out in my memory. Whereas The Secret of Happy Ever After, that's kind of, I remember that being really good. The next one was Trouble in the Village by Rebecca something or another. But I didn't read that. I think I read the first bit of it and DNF'd it, unhauled it. It just wasn't for me. So that was another unhaul. Then I read it was Fractured by Denny Atkins. I really thought that was brilliant. Fractured was about the dual things. What could have happened if your life takes two different turns. And that to me is obviously very, like, strings very true to me in many different ways. Like sliding doors, but in a book, basically. And I really did enjoy that, and that really left an imprint on my head. The next one was Our Song by Danny Atkins. I read that, but I don't remember it as much as I remember Fractured. Fractured really strong in my head. Actually, there was two books I haven't read on that book, because the other one was The Magic Finger by Roald Dahl. So sneaky peek. One of them was The Magic Finger by Roald Dahl. And that is that one. I've not read that. I need to get to it. I've been a bit like, it's not one that's jumped out on my shelves. Like, it was one that I've had, but it didn't jump out on my shelves. So, read that one. And now for the next one, the big one that I bought, that I've not read, and it's now being forced to go on my TBR. I think this is why I might do more of these videos, because it forces me to read them. And that is The Six Queens of Henry VIII by David Starkey. Now, obviously I've read loads of Tudor books, but this one, because it was so big, I think that sort of scared me to read it. But it's actually got pictures of Henry VIII and pictures of his kids and stuff. So this is why this is going on my August TBR. It's not going on July, because July is Jane Austen July, and July is obviously going to be jam-packed. But I think I'm going to read this in honour of Tudor along. So I'm going to read this one. And this is a non-fiction book, actually. It's one of his non-fiction books, and it goes through all the six wives. And it'll be good to actually read a non-fiction book on Henry VIII's wives, because I've only read the fictional ones by all the authors. But it's like 750 pages, so it's going to be one that's going to take me the whole month. That's another reason why, because I want to wait until all my big chunky books have been read. So I'll be reading that alongside one of my Tudor long books. I'm thinking, actually. Because obviously May and June I will finish, July and August. Oh, I'll be reading Anne Boleyn when I'm reading this. So that's going to be really interesting, to be reading Anne Boleyn fiction and then Anne Boleyn non-fiction. So yes, that's forced this book up my TBR. So I will be reading it in July. I think I'm going to... How often do you guys think I should do this? Like every month? Every other month? I think I won't be every month because I've got my other ones. I might do it every other month. So when I'm not doing a try chapter tag, I will do the Old Halls Revisited. So it's kind of giving you a bit of a plan. So the second book haul was it was the May book haul on my first year on BookTube. And I got... Oh, actually, let me just go through the stats for this video. So out of the 15 books, only 2 are still on my shelves unread. I unhauled 2. I unhauled 2, so that's 4 out of the 15 that I didn't read, which I think is really good. I think that's really good, and that's like a real positive that only 4 of them were unread and only 2 of them were left on my shelves, and the 2 that were left on my shelves will get read soon. So the Magic Finger I think I may add to my June, because I already filmed my June TBR, so it can't be officially on there, but I'll put it on the shelves for that, and that will push them both to get read. So now for the May book haul, which obviously didn't count, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20. So there's 20 books on the 9 on my May book haul, and I didn't show one of them. 1, 2 not read, and only 2 unread. Again, only 2 unread. I don't know if I've got any unhauled on this one, unhauled unread. I don't think I have any unhauled unread on this one. So that's pretty darn good actually. I'm really happy with that. Again, the stats on that, and one of them that is unread is going to get read at the end of June now. So it will go in the next video, because it will go in my wrap up part 2 for May, because I'm now forcing myself to read it. Also because my sister loved it, so that's giving you a bit of a sneaky peek. Right, so the first book I read was If You Could Go Anywhere by Paige Toon. You know I love Paige Toon. I rated it 5 stars. I read it straight away. It was bloody amazing. I'm rereading it for the obviously the Paige Toon buddy read at some point, and I can't wait. I absolutely love that book. My mum just read it and she loved it as well. The next one was Why Mummy Drinks, and that is I think that's either the first or second. That's the first in the Why Mummy series. I read it and I loved it, but I'm not sure if I unhauled that copy and then got another copy or not. So, because my copy, I think I unhauled that copy of it and then I bought another copy of it, which is really weird. So, I don't know if I've read it or not. I don't know if I've read that copy of it or not. Like, I can't remember. I definitely read that copy of it, but I don't know if the new copy I've got on my shelves is new or is that one. I'm very no sense. But I'm going to be rereading the Why Mummy series at the start of next year. That's going to be one of my series to read, and I might do a read along. Do you guys agree? Should I do a read along for it? Because that would be really good fun. I love that series. The next one was Ordinary People by Diana Evans. That was a booktube made me buy it because it was raved about at the time, and I didn't like it. I really didn't enjoy it. I thought it was just kind of meh. It was not one that jumped out at me. It was one I made myself read, and I kind of regretted buying that. And it was then connected to the next one was Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I enjoyed that far more. I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else because it's very millennial kind of read, and I feel like I'm a bit too old for that. It was all right. It wasn't one of my favourites of Sally Rooney's, but it was all right. You know, it was kind of an average kind of book. Then Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. Read that, loved it. It was so much fun. It was just a joyous kiddie read. The next one, actually, I'm going to tell you the one I didn't buy. Actually, I will say it now, actually. The next one was my one that I didn't read, and that was Danny, the Champion of the World. That was one of the only ones of Roald Dahl's books that I've not read. Danny thinks thinks the world of his father, but imagine his surprise when he finds that he's been breaking the law. Even grown-ups bend the rules sometimes, but Danny knows his father is still good, kind, clever and full of ideas. Join them in a thrilling adventure as they hope to pull off the most daring and dangerous plan ever. I'm going to read this month now because my sister said that it's one of Roald Dahl's better books and she loved it, so I'm going to read that. That's going to be my one that I'm going to read. The next one was Peter's Destiny, which was actually, I didn't realise it was one of the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but it wasn't like one of his proper ones. It was like a retelling written by someone else. So that's on my shelves, and I don't know whether I'm going to rush to read that because I kind of got put off The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe after reading the last book in the series, and the rest of the series, like the first 3 books were great, and then it just went. The Last Battle I hated. So that's kind of put me off reading the other one, so I don't know whether to unhaul that. Do you know what? I think I'm going to actually unhaul that. I think I'm going to actually do an unhaul on that one. Because it's my unread, but I think I'm going to unhaul it because it's been on my shelves for ages, and it's not jumping out at me, and I want to get I want to prioritise what books I'm going to want, so I think I'm just going to go and unhaul that actually. Except these videos are good actually, they're good to make me think. Then it was Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I read, and it's the first, and I loved it. I will keep that one because that is the best. I may just go through them and keep the ones that I really loved because they're the ones that I'm going to want to reread rather than keeping all of them. I think that might be a little thing I might do. Then the next one was My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. Read it, great fun. Sophie Kinsella, easy to read, really giggling book, and I think I read it like twice. It was so good. Then Cocktails at 2 by Sophie Kinsella. That was when she was writing as her other writing name, Madeline Wickham. And that was good. That was quite good fun. It wasn't as good as My Not So Perfect Life, but it was good. Then Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And everyone knows that book was popular on BookTube at one point. It was a brilliant book. Really enjoyed it. Loved it. Definitely going to read that. Definitely glad I read that. I think that was one of the ones you've got to kind of read. I definitely preferred that to the author's other works, and I can't remember what the other one's name is, but I definitely liked Little Fires Everywhere. I thought that was really good. Then the next one was The Mum Who Got Her Life Back by Fiona Gibson. it's a really good cheesy contemporary about a mum just goes off. Fiona Gibson writes books about motherhood in a very real way, how you just want to run away, and it's not all pictures and glories and everything else. So I really did enjoy that. The next one was Mad About You by Sinead Moriarty, I think. I read that, but I don't really remember much about it, so I'm not going to like stress and rush to read that author's work again. The next one was The Art of Being Normal, which is about trans character, and I think that was really good. I think that was written really well. Really did remember that, and I thought it was fantastic at the time. I think I read that last year or the year before. The next two are Little Women and then Good Wives, which I read for a Little Women series a couple of years ago. Thoroughly love them both. They're both on my shelves. I will reread them at some point. Now in America, Little Women and Good Wives are in one big book, but in the UK it's done as two separate books, Little Women and Good Wives, and I thought they were brilliantly well written and amazing. The next one was Queen's Choice by Anne O'Brien, which I didn't actually remember reading, but I've apparently read it. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that I don't actually remember reading it. So it was alright. The next one was I Know Why the Caged Birds Sing by Maya D'Angelo. Read that, loved it, will keep it forever. It's a fantastic book. It was just very emotional and very real and brilliant. The next one was And the Mountains Echo by Carla Tusini. I read that at the end of last year, so that was one of my most recent reads. Read it, didn't like it as much as the first two books, The Kite Runner and the other book. And The Thousand Splendid Suns. I didn't like it anywhere near as much as that, because that's short stories interlinked, and I didn't realise it when I read it. And then I think it was a 1940s or a 1950s childhood, which I read, thought it was okay, nothing spectacular. So again, out of the 20 books, there was only 2 books that were unread and 2 books that were on my shelves. One of them is now going to get unhauled and one is going to get read at the end of this month. So that's keeping a track on that. So basically, again, out of the 2 books, I got 35 books and there was only 4 out of them that I was still on my shelves to read. It's not bad, is it? It's really not bad. I think this is good. It's good to actually watch my old hauls, because it makes me think these books that have been on my shelves for ages need to get read, and I shouldn't always. Cause I try normally to read my older books first, because I've been on here for 3 years and I've got loads of books that I've had for ages. So it's good to kind of get it sorted that way. So this has been quite successful. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.